Hello my artist friends and welcome to 2021 and back to Studio 37. This week we're going to examine the artwork of M C Escher and we are going to develop our own tessellation. I'm sure many of you don't know what a tessellation is, so that is what I'm here to show you. Also, don't be afraid, I am going to show you some art teacher tricks to make creating your own tessellation as easy as pie. I'm going to go ahead and send it over to my computer to show you guys some examples. I really hope you enjoy this lesson and have fun making your art. As promised, we're going to take this opportunity to examine the artwork of famous Dutch artist M C Escher. His tessellations are quite phenomenal, and I hope they provide some inspiration to you as you create your own tessellation. First, we need to know what a tessellation is. A tessellation is an arrangement of shapes closely fitted together, and there's a repeating pattern without any gaps or overlapping. So, tessellation is a situation where the whole page is filled up with shapes without any of them overlapping or leaving any gaps at all. So a situation where the shapes fill up the whole page without any overlapping and without any negative space. A situation where the shapes fill up the whole page and they don't leave any overlapping or they don't leave any negative space. These are all fairly interesting, but M C Escher goes pretty wild with it, and I can't wait to share his artwork with you. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the artwork of M C Escher. So again, fills up the whole space, even though these are faces instead of squares and rectangles, and hair and backs, doesn't leave any negative space and there's no overlapping. Fills up the whole space, and you can kind of see these more from birds to fish, from the sky to into the water, kind of very slowly. Fills up the whole page without any overlapping, and yeah. These are pretty interesting examples of M C Escher's art. Here's a couple more M C Escher tessellations for us. Again, fills up the whole space without any negative space or any overlapping. So the negative space of the birds makes the positive space of the other birds. Same thing here. Fills up the whole page, no negative space, no overlapping. And of course you got birds flying in the opposite directions here. Fills up the whole page, no negative space, no overlapping. Seems like a pretty challenging thing to do, but I am going to teach you an art teacher trick to make it much easier to master. Before we do that, I want to share with you some other artwork by M C Escher that isn't exactly tessellations, but it's the only time I'm going to talk about them, so I thought I'd show you some of my favorite. And some things that you might have seen before, definitely things you might see again. So here we have it. You guys might have seen these before. This one's called Relativity. If you see this, depending on where you're standing, which stairs work and which stairs don't work, or none of them would really work. M C Escher is famous for making impossible and unimaginable space as he is his tessellations. Here's another one I thought I would include just for fun. You see, there is a tessellation here made out of these lizards, but the lizards come to life and they leave, and then they return back to the tessellation. And I hope you guys realize what a phenomenal draftsman M C Escher was. Look at how well drawn this is. He was an excellent artist and a pretty great at drawing. And I'm not going to show you much more of his artwork, but feel free to look him up. He is world famous, and he lived up until 1972, so it wasn't all that long ago he was making this work. The last slide I want to share with you is some student examples of monster tessellations, which is exactly what we're going to be making. So here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Filling up the whole page, no negative space, no overlapping. Filling up the whole page, no negative space, no overlapping. Now how in the world did they do that? I can't wait to show you. To make your own monster tessellations, you're going to need a small square paper. Mine is 3 inches by 3 inches, but you can use whatever size you want. A larger size square paper. Mine is 9 inches by 9 inches, but again, you can use whatever you want. Something to draw with. You can use a pencil. I'm using a marker so you can see. Scissors and tape. So to make our tessellation monster, I'm going to start by drawing a mouth, and whatever I draw, I'm going to cut out Remember, whenever we cut out, we use the back of our scissors and we move our paper, not the scissors, right? Appreciate this attentive class. Trying the best. Now the trick is I'm going to tape what I cut off to the back of my tessellation. Remember, we don't want any negative space, so whatever we use, we need to move around. And I'm going to do the same thing with the top. I'm going to give him like a mohawk, which is also going to kind of make legs at the bottom. And again, you don't need a marker, you can use a pencil. I'm just using a marker so you can see my lines. Same as last time, I'm going to tape the part I cut off from the bottom and place it onto the top. And I'm going to scoot it up just a little bit so they don't line up perfectly. So I want it to be a little offset. And I'm going to go ahead and add a piece, trim the tape off here and add a piece of tape to the other side, just so it doesn't fall off while I'm working. Now my next step is to trace my monster in such a way that there's no negative space and no overlapping. Stay tuned while I do that. My final step is to color in my monsters. Now I want to make sure to use good contrasting colors because the monsters are already completely blended in with each other. So if you don't use good contrasting colors, you won't be able to tell when one monster stops and another one starts. So I would recommend alternating cool colors, warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, cool colors, warm colors, etc. And I'm going to use markers to color mine, but you feel free to color yours with whatever you have. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is my monster tessellation inspired by the artwork of M C Escher. I used contrasting, cool, and warm colors. I used both geometric and organic shapes. I used my time wisely, and I had a good time. So I hope you enjoy making your monster tessellations as well, and I cannot wait to see them. As always, this is Mr. Shear reminding you to stay safe, take care of yourself, and get a chance somebody else as well. So Mr. Shear from Studio 37, have a good night, guys.